So now we're seeing videos under 3 minutes, really, really punchy, quick, snackable, and we're seeing a lot of success with brands leveraging creators who are creating that kind of content to promote products. I am Olivia Savage. I am a senior product marketing manager here at Impact, and I'm focused on our creator product. And as you know, there are some very exciting things coming in that space, so I'm so incredibly stoked to be here and talking about what's happening in the landscape of creator marketing. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to introduce Jordan and Tiffany. Would you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Jordan Powers. I'm the Senior Shopper Marketing Manager at Chobani. Been there about 5 years, and short form content has, in the last 2 years, been something that we've been engaged in quite a bit because it's really expanding our reach. So I'm really excited to talk more about it today.
Absolutely.
And my name is Tiffany Matloob. I'm the Global Head of Creator Community for YouTube Shorts. I've been there for 2 years now, and actually I was at Instagram where I launched Reels before that, and I was at Musical.ly when we got acquired and became TikTok. So I've been in the short form space for a very long time, touching all those platforms and really understanding the creators who want to create short form content.
Absolutely. So quickly, I kind of discovered over breakfast that not everybody really actually knows what short form content is. So quickly, when you think about videos and reels and stuff like that, often people think about older school's form of content, which is much longer, right? We're talking 10, 20, really high production value, professional videographers creating this amazing work. And we've seen over the past couple of years that shorter videos are being consumed at a much higher rate. We're seeing things explode on platforms like TikTok and of course YouTube Shorts. And so we just kind of wanted to make sure that everybody understands short form is the kind of the marriage of Vine, rest in peace, and YouTube, right? The traditional YouTube videos. So now we're seeing videos under 3 minutes, really, really punchy, quick, snackable, and we're seeing a lot of success with brands leveraging creators who are creating that kind of content to promote products. So in that vein, first I kind of wanted to talk to you, Tiffany, about how you've seen the landscape kind of changing. I mean, you've been at the forefront. You've been on all of these platforms, all of them, amazingly. Yeah. And kind of from your perspective, from the platform perspective, how that's been and how you think things are going to continue moving in that space.
Definitely. I mean, at YouTube, we really want to give everyone a voice and show them the world. And that means everyone. And so we want to optimize for the mobile first users now, that next generation. And that is why short form is essential. A lot of people are watching content on their phones, and they are watching it while they're in line at Starbucks. They're watching it when they're hanging out with their friends. Even probably right now, some of you guys are sneaking away to watch some short form content. So it really is everywhere. But I think what's great about it is it's giving people the opportunity who they might not have those editing tips and tricks or the savvy to kind of have that production team behind them to do the longer form content. It's giving everyone the opportunity to be able to come to this playground, test, learn, try different things, because the great thing about short form is you don't need a lot of resources to create it, and you can put out your ideas and whatever you believe in really quickly, immediately to a new audience and grow. And that's why I think like a lot of creators are gravitating towards that. We saw, especially during COVID, everyone took to their phones, and it's not just Gen Z, it's their parents were on there with them creating content. We saw a lot of families, everyone wanted to express themselves, and short form allows people who didn't think they would have the opportunity to be creators to be a creator. I feel like everyone in this room has probably experimented with creating short form content.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jordan, can you talk a little bit about the brand perspective and how you've seen consumers behaviors change when it comes to short form content?
Yeah, so we're actually seeing consumers consume this content at longer periods of time. So for the first time ever, we're able to capture a consumer's attention, and we're able to do so more than just a static image, which on average we see a static image, whether it's something, a signage in store, or whether it's a static image online, usually only captures the consumer from like 2 to 3 seconds, where with short form content, we're able to get them for like up to 3 minutes. And so it's giving us a new platform to really push a brand message out and kind of like drive that engagement with the consumer in a more meaningful way. Consumers are going to this short form content looking for entertainment or discovery. And so with those platforms, we're able to push different consumption occasions, show them different products and the different product attributes, and really educate the consumers on these different brands and branded products.
Yeah, absolutely. The education component, I think, is key because, I love yogurt. I eat yogurt pretty much every day, and Chobani is one of my favorites. So,
great, thank you.
But when I go and I look up Chobani on Instagram or TikTok, they are creating content and like videos and recipes that I never would have thought of. I saw one this morning where this woman took yogurt, she froze it with berries in it, and then she dipped it in chocolate, and it's like this frozen snack. I never would have thought to do that. And so, educating people on how to creatively use these products and getting, their creative minds going is absolutely key.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons we've engaged in short form content so much, is because, to your point exactly, we are providing consumers with these new consumption habits and occasions, and so we can really drive products more than just their typical average use that it might be marketed towards. And really with these creators, they already are resonating with their consumers in a way that is personalized to them. And so when we're leveraging these influencers and these content creators, we're really able to drive these new personalized methods.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about like what actually makes that happen, right? So how are you seeing creators create content that really resonates and that, drives people to watch something that is technically an advertisement?
I think the biggest thing is having a perspective. I think we talk about authenticity. I feel like I have to say it because I'm adding to the count. There should probably be a game around it. But really, creators want to be able to express themselves, and having a point of view is essential to really getting that audience that is going to buy in when you're gonna do an advertisement. So what is different from me doing that short form content versus you doing it is I probably have a different idea of how I wanna put a spin on that recipe that you just talked about. Or I wanna be able to share like, oh, I had a tough day and the first thing I wanna do is grab this snack, but it's my personal experience. And I think people wanna connect to people. So it really is, in the previous panel, they were talking about the importance of having a face versus the brand, not necessarily having creators there to share the message. It is really important because people want to buy things from people they trust. And when a creator is putting something out there, you want to be able to say, this is my person, this is my friend, this is someone who I will buy anything from. I have some creators that I follow that I will they put something, as soon as they post something, I'm like, oh, buying it, because I feel like they are my best friend. And so the first thing I always say is become best friends with your audience. Bring them inside your life. I think that's the difference between some of a TV show versus social media is with social media, you really get to show all the different raw parts of your life. It's not this beautifully scripted show that people are watching. They're seeing the different pieces. And I always say show that. I think there was that moment where everyone was doing that perfectly curated Instagram. And I was let's just tear that apart and be 100% you. And I think that's when you're gonna get the right audience that wants to come, listen to what you have to say, and then will purchase anything that you put up there because they get you and you get them. So it's really about creating that parasocial relationship.
Absolutely. I think you and I were talking last night about how also consumers want to see themselves in the creators that they follow, right? Like it's not just about, oh, I can empathize with that. It's literally like, I could see myself doing that, wearing that, buying that, consuming that. And so that's absolutely key for people to keep in mind when they're writing their creative briefs for their creator marketing collaborations. It's absolutely key. And so let's like dive a little deeper into that and talk about some of the challenges, but also some of the successes that both of you have kind of seen when it comes to that, because it's not, one size fits all. There's no perfect formula. And I'm interested to know kind of what you've seen on the ground.
Yeah, so to kind of touch base on what Tiffany was discussing is brands, when we're leveraging these content creators, we don't need to come in with a script. We really need to let these creators build out content that is authentic and unique to them, because that's what's going to resonate with their followers and their consumers. And so really all brands need to do is we need to show up with intention on what that message is going to be, but let the creators build out that content. And so I think that's actually a challenge that a lot of brands face, is that they come in with something super scripted and it feels that way. It feels inauthentic. It doesn't feel like it's natural to the creator. And so then it doesn't feel natural or authentic to the consumer. And so allowing these creators to come to the forefront with unique, authentic, and genuine content, that's what's going to resonate, and that's what the consumer is going to trust. And so that's kind of like a challenge and a success that we've seen at Chobani when we're leveraging content creators, especially with short form.
Yeah.
I think for me, I always like take it back. I think a lot of times brands are like, okay, what value is this creator gonna bring for me? But I think the brand should always be like, what value am I gonna bring for the creator first? And identifying the value propositions that you're gonna bring for them, when they feel that you are invested in them and you care about them, they will 100% return on that investment. And you will get, we heard from the panel before, like build that relationship and they'll keep coming back and they'll do some free posts even sometimes because they love you and the relationship so much. And right now I manage a team of partner managers that work with creators. And the biggest thing is creating that trust and that relationship between the brand and the creator. It has to be that personal connection. I always say, take the time to get to know the creator. Jump on a call. It doesn't have to be, a 2-hour conversation. I know we talked about the briefing calls earlier, but even like a 5 to 10 minute call and just say, hey, I just want to get to know you. Let's not talk about the brief. Let's not talk about the ask. Like, tell me about you. What do you like to do for fun? Like, what did you do this weekend? I think when you meet the creator at We Are Friends and we're building a relationship and a partnership together, they will want to invest more in the business. So as I think about like the value you can bring to creators, it's a lot of times brands, they just work directly with the creator, but I say build a community and introduce those creators to each other. And that will then create a trickle out effect where all of them will then want to collaborate with each other and talk about the product and spread the praises of the product even more because they now have this new network to connect with. So I always say, like, when you're working with creators, build that connection, that relationship, that value, and they will want to work with you forever. And I think it also starts, like I always say, it starts in the DMs. Like, DM them, chat with them, show love, show support. Go and like heart their other posts and comment and say, you're a star, you're a queen. Maybe that's something I would say, so you don't have to say that exactly, but I always say, like, if you think about a creator as your friend versus a business, it's going to be more of a seamless experience. And I've seen that time and time again, when you invest in the creators, getting to know them, building a community where they feel like this company gets me. And I hear this time and time again, like you ask a creator, like, what are your favorite brands or platforms that they work with? They're always gonna say the place where they have a really strong relationship with the partner manager or the relationships manager at the company that the brand has. So I think like you really want to think about building that, spending that time cultivating those relationships, and it will be so successful.
Yeah, I mean, it goes beyond just doing your homework, right? Like, you shouldn't reach out to creators without knowing what kind of content they produce. If you try to build your community just based around follower count or engagement, you're probably not going to succeed. But I remember you telling me about this, like you have actually seen brands create like DM groups with multiple creators where you're creating a sense of community, and that absolutely blew my mind. I had never considered that you as a brand can actually foster a community within the niche of creators that you can leverage, and that they're not competing against each other. You're all working together.
And they even come up with better ideas in that group. So a lot of times, you know, when we talk about those briefs and they're like, oh, I don't know what to create, or this is too prescriptive, or I can't feel it, I don't know, I'm not feeling creative. Those groups are the perfect place to bounce ideas off one another. Like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, but something's off. You basically have like 100 creative directors in there giving you feedback and giving you ideas. And I promise you that content that they post is going to be even better than if it was just themselves. So really getting them together. We do this a lot when creators are like, okay, I need an idea for my YouTube Shorts content. I don't know what to post this week. We have weekly sessions with our creators where we put them all in a room together and we're like, let's ideate. Like this, we see this is trending right now. We see that's trending. And one creator who might be in the beauty space might have an idea for this that someone's like, I didn't really think about it like that because I'm a food creator, but I'm going to apply that, you know, format to how I'm going to do that same trend. And like, that's where you're able to kind of get a different perspective, a different way of thinking, and you're not spending billions of dollars to do it. That is 100% free, which is the crazy part. Yeah. That something as simple as building a community can get you such great results.
Absolutely. And you know, to kind of piggyback on that, let's talk a little bit about brand awareness versus conversions and any blend thereof that you've seen. You know, Chobani does such a fantastic job of creating content, and I'm interested to know kind of what you have seen as far as leveraging specifically short form content and how you've seen, you know, things grow from there, and you know, what opportunities were kind of surprising.
Yeah, so with this short form content that we leverage, it's really, as I mentioned before, it's really driving those consumption occasions. And with those consumption occasions, it's really spreading awareness of the actual brand and the product and the different ways that the consumer can engage with our brand. And so even at the end of the day, we know that, you know, creator content is maybe not directly tied to sales. It builds that brand awareness and that brand relationship that will transition into sales in the long run. And so that's something that, you know, at the end of the day, brands and businesses, that's kind of our end goal, is to push those sales. But you're able to do so by really building and establishing that relationship with the consumer directly. And Tiffany was just talking about, you know, having authentic creative content so that you can further and deepen that relationship with the consumer. And when the content creators are able to do that with their followers and their consumers, and the brand engages in that and allows the creator to really run with their own ideas, you're also furthering your relationship with the consumer through them as well. And so at the end of the day, it really establishes this like opportunity to be beyond just a product, but establish that relationship with the consumer that is going to, you know, really extend in the long run to those sales, that retention, and then those sales conversions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we also kind of talked about like the role of literally the platforms and the technology in being able to better serve brands in those conversions. I remember you mentioning that you had this like brilliant idea for, you know, not just a promo code or a link, but like literally integrating multiple platforms to ease the burden on consumers from, I see this, I want it, and then having it arrive at your house. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but yeah, that was really fascinating.
Yeah, it's just an idea of where I think we're going to see a lot of this content go, is making it easier for the consumers to shop and add these products to their cart. So it's something that if they see a recipe on TikTok, for example, and they're like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, I want to try that. Kind of having that option where we can just add ingredients to the cart and then have it shipped to your house. And obviously, I think that's going to someday incorporate things like Instacart or any other online shopping store. But again, it's just an idea of ways for us to expand that engagement with consumers, and it could drive more than one brand. But it's really just a way that I think will give us this option to deepen that relationship with consumers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that would be so incredible. I mean, if I were to see a recipe that includes Chobani, but also has some herbs or something that I don't have, and I'm able to, I want to make this for dinner tonight, but I don't have time after work to go to the store, to just be like, oh, I'm going to click this link. Oh, it's automatically adding all of the ingredients to my Instacart. I don't need this, I don't need that. I already have those. Purchase, and it arrives at 4:30 p.m. in time for me to make my dinner. That's taking things even further than the meal kit subscription boxes, where it's like, well, you have to plan ahead of time, and I know I want this many meals. It's more immediate, it's more convenient. And I hope that we see continued innovation in that space. I don't know if you have any insider info on that.
Stay tuned. Things that we're always thinking about. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, let's talk about future predictions, kind of where you see things going. Really feel free to just run with it and where you would like to see, but also kind of what you think the direction is going to be.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for the creator space is having a perspective. And I said this earlier, and having content with soul. I know Morgan Lindsay, she's a creator, I always mention her, but she mentioned that phrase of content with soul, and it really resonated with me, because I think there was a phase of short form where it was very much like doing the dance and doing the lip sync, and it's fun and entertaining, but I think people want something that's nutritious and delicious, like Chobani. And so that's where with content, it's so important to find that balance of how is it entertaining, but how do you also get value from it? And entertainment can be value, but beyond that, what's something you're learning? I know you mentioned that recipe that you saw, and you're like, I'm gonna do this. It's enhancing your day already. And I think as creators start to think about their strategy, how can you start to put different elements of it where you are bringing knowledge to the table, where you're enhancing someone's day and allowing them to learn something new. That is definitely where things are headed, versus just sticking to some of those. I think I always say the trends, and I think you see the brands do this all the time. They're like, let's do a dance and then incorporate this in, and it's not really authentic to the brand, because they're like, why are you doing a dance if you're trying to get people to buy this yogurt? I always say for creators, the trends are the foot in the door, right? It's I don't know what to create. I need an idea. I need inspiration. And then they start building that muscle, and they're like, okay, I feel more comfortable posting. I feel, this worked, this didn't work. They kind of understand the audience as they're trying these different trends. And then that's when you have to go and be like, okay, now what do I love? How can I put the Tiffany brand within the content that I'm creating? And that's the evolution, is put more, everyone here is a creator. I think that's also my prediction, is all of you guys will be selling, on your Instagram. You do it every day. When I post about La Colombe coffee, I'm not an ambassador, but I'm obsessed. Everyone's like, are they paying you? Are they paying you to post every day on your Instagram story? I'm like, no, I am just so ride or die for La Colombe coffee that I will post about it for free. And everyone who visits LA or New York, they have a couple locations, will message me and I just bought La Colombe. I'm obsessed with it. So that goes to say you guys will all be content creators posting about your favorite brands, and people will be buying it, and I'm sure everyone will have an affiliate link. That is the future. We're all going to be creators buying and selling each other's products.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what we're also going to see is I think we're going to see this content kind of expand into additional channels. Because consumers are going to want to find ways to further engage back with these content creators. Again, it could be anybody here, but I think it's going to expand beyond a like and a comment. And kind of to our previous mention of being able to like immediately purchase products that you're seeing on somebody's content. But it's going to expand beyond that, because at the end of the day, consumers, they go to this short form content looking for entertainment and discovery, but they also want that personalization and they want to be able to engage back. And so I think what we're going to see someday is ways for consumers to further engage beyond a like and a comment.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting to kind of think about the scalability of short form content, right? Because I think a lot of brands or people that aren't scrolling, YouTube Shorts or TikTok every day, they don't really get it, and it's not part of their routine. But once you get sucked in, you realize there's so much value in this, and it is really, it is a different experience. But the thing that I find so fascinating about a platform like YouTube Shorts is that I think there's a perception that, they're jumping on a trend. But the amazing thing about your technology is that it's scalable. So you can use short form as a way to get people's foot in the door and then introduce them to longer form, and it's more evergreen. So I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should be on the YouTube team. You explained it perfectly. But that is the beauty of YouTube, right? We have all these different formats that you can explore and that can help you build that community that you were just speaking about earlier. So you start with YouTube Shorts, get your foot in the door, test and try different things. It's your playground. Like I always say, this is a place to see, I always say it's an improv class too, because I took improv and I remember I'm like, oh, this is so cringy, but I'm gonna do it because no one's here, and if I'm embarrassing, like 10 people see it. I always say short form is very similar. Like you put it out there, you see how it does. Like it might be cringy in the beginning. I mean, everyone go look at your first Instagram or your first YouTube or your first TikTok video. That is gonna be very cringy to watch. I don't care who you are, but you have to start somewhere. So I always say, go with YouTube Shorts, try different things, experiment, and then you could build out. So let's say I start creating content and I'm like, people really love my beauty tips. I'm gonna start doing a longer form version of this where I take them behind the scenes of like how I put this makeup look together. And so you're able to build out that content strategy. Then I'm like, maybe I'll go live and I'll take recommendations from my audience for how I should do my next makeup look. Like, should I do sparkles or and using your audience to build that community and get all of my creators that I work with say, I get inspiration from my comments. My audience tells me what I should be posting. And even now, you can make a comment into a video and react to it. So I think that is the beauty of it, is we have all these different formats that you can explore and build that community. We have the community page where you could post different things and say, I just posted my YouTube video, or check out my short, or who has a great idea for my next video. All of those different elements create this strategy for you to be able to touch people at different points. So like if I go home and I want to watch YouTube in my living room, I want maybe that longer form that I can sit down and enjoy, and I'm gonna watch you then. When I'm in line for my La Colombe, I'm gonna watch you, I'm gonna find you and discover you through YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts is a great discovery channel, and then I always say, dig deeper. Learn more about you, learn more about your passions, and engage with you on live stream. We have all of these different formats, so you can really experiment and explore and be as creative as you want. Or you can say, hey, I'm just a YouTube Shorts girly, and that's all I want to do. I just want to be here, do my short form. Or you say, I'm just a long form lover, so I'm just going to stick here. But we give you that option, and we want to be able to have everything for you at your disposal. So if you want to do it all, here's the menu. If you want to, pick and choose, go for it.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that YouTube is also really good to its creators, which is so important, right? Like if you are working with creators on a platform, you need to know that they feel like they're gonna see success. It's not just about virality, oh, I'm gonna get this many views or whatever. It's not about that short term, it's about the long-term investment. And so, creating an opportunity for creators to feel at home on the platform, like they are valued, and to really increase their earnings because it's their job. Like likes and clicks and shares don't necessarily pay the bills, right? So, and I think that YouTube has done a really good job of fostering that and continuing to create that community. So it's worth considering, right? When you're thinking about where do you want your creators to post, you're not limited to just, the one that, somebody says in some meeting. Like you can experiment further.
Exactly, and we have rev share on Shorts. So,
yes.
I mean, that is the perfect opportunity if you want to. A lot of creators, they want to be able to make money from doing this. This isn't a hobby, this is a business. And for YouTube, we really believe in making sure that the creator can have a business here and having the ability to make really substantial money that can change their lives. I've worked with several creators who, when they started, they had like 3 jobs and were trying to balance this on the side. And they're like, I quit my job. And I was just talking to a teacher. I'm going to see her at VidCon coming up next week. And she was like, yeah, I was a teacher and I was just doing this during COVID to connect with my students because I wasn't seeing them in person. And now she has over 1 million subscribers. And she quit her job and she's making a living off YouTube Shorts and YouTube. So I think those are the stories where they're able to, quit their job and really pursue what they're passionate and excited about. I think she's able to now reach way more students. She's able to reach way more people and have a way bigger influence than she was when she was just in that classroom. And I think that's what we want to do too, is allow for people to be able to reach and, empower and inspire others. And that's why a lot of times the consumers become the creators, and that is really the beauty of it.
Yes. And actually I'm interested to know, so like what have you seen from the brand perspective as far as like engagement? Have you seen creators mimicking? Have you seen creators kind of bubble up out of nowhere where they were organically posting content and tagging you, and then it became an actual deal? What sort of tips and tricks have you seen from Chobani as far as working with creators that has really maybe surprised you or really pushed things forward?
Yeah, when we are engaging with consumers online, and to kind of touch on what you were saying, but whether it's long form or short form, we're creating a connection with consumers. And again, Tiffany said it a couple times, everyone is a creator in some way, shape, or form, whether it's something static, short form, or whether it's something long form. But when we allow creators to be unique and authentic in their posts, it inspires and encourages consumers, and they want to build their own connections from that as well. And so that is when we start to see consumers mimicking recipes, tagging us in their own, really inspired by something else they've seen. And when we have, typical consumers starting to create their own content and they leverage our brand, we're just casting a wider net. And so it's so important for brands to make sure that they are engaging in some type of online content. But again, it really is so impactful with short form because you're just able to gather so many more consumers. But then you have, your average Joe who also wants to post and add something to one of their social pages. And when they do that, they're also pushing out their own recipes, their own ideas, their own consumption occasions to their own friends and followers. And so it really just broadens the brand reach. And that's why it's so important. And that's what we that's what we keep in mind when we engage with content creators.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's kind of interesting is that I see in certain segments, there's still this I think, misconception that creator marketing, influencer marketing is all about brand awareness. It's all top of the funnel, just getting your name out there. But we're actually seeing in specific verticals that there is more conversion, that they're driving sales, they're driving change. And so I'm interested to know from your perspective, do you feel as though things are still very top of funnel, or are you also witnessing that shift, and do you think that is going to continue?
I definitely think so. It's going to continue in the sense that it will have more impact on direct sales. So in my personal experience with shopper marketing, I do most of my marketing on behalf of a certain retailer. And so we'll engage content creators and push consumers to purchase a product at a specific retailer. And so when we're engaging with content creators and our intention is to drive awareness of a product and that it's available at this retailer, and then allowing those content creators to be their authentic, unique selves, that connection with the consumer and then that authentic push is going to drive that consumer back into the store. And I think as social media and short form content continues to evolve and expand into different channels, we're going to see ways that a consumer can shop more directly, and that's obviously going to continue to impact sales in the long run. What that's going to be, I don't know yet. Tiffany might have a better idea of where we're going with those channels, but I think we will see that expansion, and it is going to drive that conversion. Again, we just need to continue to build that connection with the consumers, and the additional content and those sales will come organically.
100%. I think I get told from creators all the time that brands will come to them after they do a YouTube short and they're like, wow, like people bought this, like they bought it immediately because they know the creator. I think that's with YouTube, even going back to like this platform, is when you subscribe, you are making an investment. You're like, I am subscribing to this person and I want to see their content all the time versus just, a follower. It's a different level of engagement. And I think that's why, when they do the YouTube shorts, people know that person's name. It's not just like, oh, that's the Spice Guy. It's like, oh, that's Rami Zayn. Like, I love him. I don't love like his content. It's about the creator. And because of that, we're hearing from a lot of brands that when they do YouTube shorts, they're seeing that conversion because it is that person that they're buying it from. That we saw that stat up earlier about how you're influenced by your friends and the people around you, and that's what gets you to purchase. So because we've created that relationship between the consumer and the creator, it makes it seamless. It's seamless when they go and they watch and they're like, oh, I want to buy that product because I love this person and they understand me and I want to live the life that they're living. So let's do it. And that's, I think, the beauty of YouTube and the platform that we have, is that it does create such a strong relationship where we are seeing that conversion. It isn't just, the content isn't it. It's really the creator is number one. And as you said, we really invest a lot of time in supporting that mission.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and product attributes are not going to be the only thing that really sells a product anymore. It's really building that relationship, and this short form content is allowing us to do that. Consumers are looking beyond just product attributes. They're looking at the brand and their relationship with that brand. And so you were touching on it beautifully, that with this content and with these creators, they're establishing relationships, and with brands, we're able to leverage that relationship to strengthen our relationship directly with consumers. And when we're able to do that, that's what's going to drive conversion. That's what's going to drive our sales.
Absolutely. Well, we're starting to run short on time. Any final thoughts, tips, or tricks for folks who are wanting to place content and creator marketing campaigns in the near future?
I would say go on YouTube Shorts, look up your brand, see who's already posting content to your brand. Those are your ambassadors. That's how we find a lot of our creators too. Who is already posting, already excited, already, a fan. Hello, La Colombe, like come sponsor me because I am posting every day. So I would say go see who's already talking about your brand authentically and who's obsessed with it. Those are the people that you want spreading the mission, because you don't even have to give them talking points at that point. They're probably going to give you some talking points about how to position your brand even better. So I would say go experiment with YouTube Shorts, find creators who are already speaking about your brand and excited about it, and get them to have fun. I mean, that's why I always say people forget when money is involved, the F word, fun. Let's have a little fun. Usually it's fame, fortune, but I think we forget that this could be a really great place to just explore yourself and be free, but really take the time to explore YouTube Shorts, because I think that is where you're going to get a lot, especially the mobile first generation, you're going to get a lot more people watching and learning about you.
Yeah, and if you're a creator, stay true to yourself, stay authentic, and build that relationship with your consumers. It gives you a lot more power and influence on these consumer behaviors, so that when you are partnering with brands, you are going to be driving a greater impact. And at the end of the day too, for creators, we discussed, making that income, kind of having that impact on salary. And when you can create this really strong established relationship with your followers and your consumers, and brands will see that and they will want to leverage that partnership in a greater sense. And for brands, have an intention on what you want to push and pursue, but let creators be themselves. Let them, again, the word authentic is the word of the day, but let them be authentic and push it how they would, and that's what's going to resonate with consumers and build that brand affinity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You've been absolutely incredible. Let's give them a hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.